Thank you.
Called Alfred Narrow.
Mr Speaker, I'm proud to take the final call on this bill, the Social Security Youth Support and Work Focus Amendment Bill. Mr Speaker, there's been a lot of talk about evidence. It's not hard to sort of realise, Mr Speaker, that you don't need a lot of evidence to know that the longer people are on benefit, the more harmful it is, not only for them, but also too for their family, for their community, and for the country as a whole. There's enough evidence that says that if you go on younger, you stay on longer. Mr Speaker, the key aspect of this bill is the word called focus. There's been a lot of talk about the fact is, where are the jobs? Mr Speaker, this is not about jobs, because that would be about numbers and about an output. This is about outcomes. This is about outcomes. Yes, the numbers are important because they indicate change, but the most important that this bill is focused on is about improving outcomes. And this is the difference, Mr Speaker, because it changes the words and it reframes it in a way that gives it a sense of vision. Because previously, under the welfare system, everything was worded with the word a benefit. What this is doing is changing, and it's using words such as future focus, youth focus, work focus. And so what that tells us, what that tells people who enter into the support that absolutely is needed at a time of need, is that while you're there, here's an opportunity for reprieve, but at the same time too, don't lose sight of the hope that you have to achieve, sorry Mr Speaker, the opportunity that you have to achieve your dreams and your vision. Hence the reason around future focus. And that's the difference that we're doing. Mr Speaker, we've been accused by many things. In fact, people have used the words benefit bashing. I think the only people that's been bashed around are the members on either side of the House, Mr Speaker. And there's been a little bit of drama. I think there's been a little bit of drama classes that have been doing in some of the caucus across the way. We've heard words such as genocide. We've heard words such as putting the boot into beneficiaries. And Mr Speaker, that could be far from the truth. And in fact, we've even had accusations and finger pointing to the minister herself and even to other members that have been here. And it's been highly offensive when Mr Prasad would assume that young mothers and mothers would not have the sense of wanting to be both a working mother, to have their children and work at the same time too. And it was offensive to the members of this side of the House. And I imagine to many, many women that are in our communities. Mr Speaker, this is the first stage in welfare reform. And I just want to tell the other members, there's much more to come. So the Ginsu knives are coming. The opposition will have you believe that people will be forced into work. This is not true. The expectation is to be available. Let me just say those words again, available. See, it's a future focus. It's about being available for work. There will be no sanction, and that is fair and reasonable. The bulk of the people affected by this bill are young people, and the focus is on training and education. And this is a stepping stone. And again, I'll repeat it again so the members hear and understand. Okay, this is a stepping stone. Why? Because evidence shows when you go on younger, you stay on longer. The providers that are going to be there to provide support, and here's another key word, they're called navigators. They're not enforcers of a law or of a system. They're navigators to help our young people find the opportunities that are there before them as well. This is an active system, not an inactive system. And here's the interesting thing, because the previous member, Mrs. Woods, talked about the fact about where are the jobs. Well, let me just tell you this. If that was right, if there were a plethora of jobs that were available under the current system that was there with the Labour government, there were no obligations. So you didn't have to. Okay, there are no obligations. 79% of those prior to the future focus being implemented, 79% of those on the benefit had no obligations to seek work. This is an active system, Mr. Speaker. This system provides greater flexibility. It introduces greater flexibility into the hours of work, for part-time work, full-time work. Tests for beneficiaries are subject to work test obligations. This is not a mean-spirited bill. All this does is extend the opportunities that are there. This bill also authorises information sharing. It authorises the information to be shared between the Minister of Education and the Minister of Social Development to allow the provision of services to young people between the provider and the organisations. Why are we focusing on young people? Again, because we know when you enter into the system younger, you stay on longer. This bill is also about educational benchmarks. You know, what concerned us, Mr. Speaker, was on the other side, there was the dumbing down of expectations. It was said that NCA Level 2 was a bridge too far. It was a bridge too far. Well, we're not about that. We're about setting educational benchmarks. Because you see, Mrs. Wood, Mr. Prasad, surely you would know for your children, you would not set that expectation. So what right do you have to set the expectation? What right is there to set the expectation lower than that which you would have for your own children? This government, and under this bill, sets the same expectations that we have for our children. It increases work expectations, and again, prior to the National's Future Focus changes, 79% of beneficiaries had no work test obligations. This figure is now 64%, and under the implementation of this bill, we believe it will decrease to 60% as well. Mr. Speaker, my final words are this. Many members over there have told us about how we will sleep, and I end with this, Mr. Speaker. All of us that have come here into this House, the opportunity to make a change, do so with a consciousness. We have to, because one day we will all be held accountable to that which we've supported. Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. We support this bill. It's a bill that gives a sense of vision. It creates a sense of focus. It creates flexibility. It sets a benchmark of expectation that we all have for all of our children. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill of opportunity, and we will see the results and the outcomes that will truly make a difference to the young people of our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, this debate has concluded. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. A party vote's been called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
Votes opposed.
New Zealand First. Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
Opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
Members, the ayes are 64, the noes are 57. The motion is agreed to.
Social Security, Youth Support and Work Focus Amendment Bill, third reading.
Call on Government Order of the Day number 2.
Biosecurity Law